Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Cinema. So in this episode, we're going to do something special. So if you guys have been following the channel, you guys know that I've been doing a lot of songs as individual videos from Lagaan. So it's all been leading up to this. So this is our video where we discuss and celebrate Lagaan in a way because today when you're watching this video, Lagaan has completed 20 years of release. So again, like always, I have Sai and Saurabh with me. But for a change this time, I'll not be asking the questions. Sai will be asking the questions. So yeah, over to you. Let's begin.
Hi, folks. We are kind of excited to talk about Lagan today. So, my first question for both of you guys is, what was what was the first time you saw the movie, and how did you feel about it?
Yeah. Rama, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first because so I'm maybe one of those people who feels this kind of regret because I didn't get to watch Lagan in the theaters. I actually watched it on those pirated cable TV channels when they put the movie, say, out on a Saturday or a Sunday before it came on like satellite television and stuff like that. So that was my experience. But I remember that whole buzz, where people were going crazy because I was a bit too young at that time even to understand it. So my older cousins got it much better. And they were like, because this is the time I had just started to follow cricket, like know what's going on in the game. But they were like 2, 3 years ahead of me, so they enjoyed it. And I still remember that people were just excited to watch the movie only because that they're playing cricket in a dhoti and stuff. So people used to flock to the theater just to watch that. So yeah, that is kind of my first impression of Lagan.
I don't want to digress too much, but one thing I would like to point out is something that I have always wondered about is why they chose cricket in the story. It could have been any other sport, right?
I mean, but dude, like, sorry if you want to say it, but it's
Yeah,
India,
the
man.
movie
You
was
can't, you can't
the
choose
movie
anything
was
else.
released in 2001. So by that time, cricket was the only sport known to Indians. So like just to make it like a box office kind of viable thing, it could have been a choice and a good choice, I would say. Like it stood quite nicely with their time. But I'll come to like my memories of watching Lagan. I did watch Lagan in a theater. I went there with a cousin of mine with whom I've seen quite a lot of films, and like most Indians who were about to go to watch Lagan, we were again faced with that dilemma because as some of us might know that Lagan and Gadar, both of them released on the very same day. Both were in a similar space, so to speak, like patriotism and that kind of space. And I still feel very proud about the choice I made that day because my God, Gadar would have been even for a 13-year-old me, Gadar would have been a disaster. That was too much to take. And about my first memories of watching the movie, so I found Lagan to be immensely like entertaining kind of a film. And for me, obviously, the highlight or the best moments of the film back then were the cricket match that happens in the end. So I can just like looking back on myself in the past, I can say that wow, I was so dumb that I was actually equating a movie like Lagan to something like an owl number. If you don't know, Owl, it's a model. It is a movie which also commences with a cricket match in the end. Again, Amir Khan was there in Owl number as well.
Number as well. Yeah.
But over years, when I kept revisiting Lagan, and then I started seeing the finesse and the greatness that the movie carries, and to up to this day, like I just watched Lagan, parts of Lagan about a month back, and I will come to it later. But I'll just say that I still there are some minute things that I keep discovering about the movie, and it was such a masterpiece for me.
So, do you want to talk about like one minor thing, for instance, you found in the last watch or something like that?
Actually, it is quite like it is quite an observation. So if you want, I can go now, or I'll
Yeah,
go.
go for it.
So okay, so thanks for bringing me there. Actually, so I remember I watched Lagan last time about 3 or 4 weeks back. I was on a flight, and like Lagan is on Netflix now. So usually before boarding a flight, I download some movies so that I can keep watching them. And important to note that 3 or 4 weeks back, India was facing one of the biggest tragedies that I have seen in my lifetime, India going through, right? And For my own bad or good, whatever, I am too active on Twitter and all these platforms, and like it was just filled up with SOS calls. There was a general feeling of helplessness and a universal, like, I don't know, like morose, atmosphere throughout the country. So already was feeling pretty overwhelmed by those emotions. And when I started watching Lagan, like I said, during that flight, it was almost like a, I don't know, like a very sad feeling that something like how much has changed, or what really has been changed, that like in that movie we are seeing a couple of villagers asking for their very basic rights, that can we not pay lagan this year, and today we are like struggling for oxygen. I don't know how apt is the comparison, but maybe because of all of that was going in my head, it felt very like dejecting to me. And like, but again, points to the movie that the emotion they wanted to convey, it was so strong that I could have related it to today's India, present day India.
That's nice. Rama, I wanted to ask you one thing on the big screen stuff. So Lagan is clearly this big grand screen kind of
Yeah.
movie, right? So what do you think would have happened if Lagan released today? In the sense that where would we watch it?
I mean, I think people. I mean, today I'm taking it as pre-COVID, of course. Like,
Right, right.
if it was COVID, then there's no point in.
Then there
Yeah,
is clearly no choice there,
yeah.
right?
But I'm saying, I think people would still go to the theaters. I think they would still want to enjoy it as a group. Because it is just not that kind of a film that you are, sitting in front of your phone or in front of your. I mean, that is good for repeat watching, which all of us do, and the reason for that is completely different because the film is one of those kind of inviting environments, if I may say. Like, there are some films, some TV shows, people watch them again and again only because not only because of the story, characters. It's like you want to be there with them inside that atmosphere. So I
In
think
the
Lagan
world.
is, yeah, in that world. So I think Lagan is definitely like one of those things. So people would definitely, I think, would go to the theaters. But I think the response in the theaters might be a bit more sophisticated today. But I think back then, even in like all the metro cities, people were dancing and going crazy. Maybe today people would not, be a bit embarrassed or bit hesitant to do all of that. But definitely, it's a big screen experience, hands down. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So, continuing on Saurabh's point, let's actually talk a bit about the patriotism in this movie. So, we did talk about a patriotic movie earlier in the series, which was Rang De Basanti. And one could even make a case that Lagan was sort of the trendsetter for these kind of movies to, in the mainstream, to come and kind of exist. And they were like really bang on. So, what do you guys think about that? In the sense that, do you think that patriotism at some point was this, in some sense, like a genre where you could really make these very entertaining grand movies?
Actually, so yeah, so I'll like to go first about this one. So just before we started this conversation, I was just going through a casual read about Lagan on Wikipedia, and it said that the movie is set in 1893. Okay, and once I read that part, it struck to me that Lagan could very well be probably the only Bollywood movie apart from Mangal Pandey. It is in that same like
But
area,
again, Mangal Pandey is not necessarily mainstream, no? So
and
it's a little.
it didn't work either. It was not a good film, like let's be honest. So Lagan could be the only movie which is very unique in its idea of patriotism, because it is being patriotic without the idea of a nation state. In 1893, even in real
Makes
history,
sense.
there was no idea of a nation that we know as India today. And at the same time, in the entire length of the movie, there I don't think there is even a word like in India, Bharat, Hindustan in the entire movie, because Lagan goes way beyond that. Like most patriotic movies that we might have seen, particularly the one which are like reflective of the soldier life of India, there is an internal protector and an external enemy. Lagan didn't fit into any of those like definitions, so to speak, and it was just like some native people, aboriginals of the place. They are fighting for their rights, and they are like from different walks of the society, different religion, all that, whatever, uh,
A
any typical.
microcosm of the
Yeah,
society.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They are coming together, and then without using the word India, without using any of the crutches that a patriotic film might find at their disposal, they emote such a strong feeling of patriotism amongst every watcher who is like, I'm pretty dead certain that even someone who was born in UK, like who is a British citizen, no way connected to India, if today they watched Lagan, they would also be like, without any effort, will be siding with these peasants who are waging a kind of a revolt against the British Empire through a sport. Like that powerful was the story. So like Lagan, in terms of its patriotic messaging, I think was a very unique experiment, and it worked really good. Like I would struggle to find any other movie who would in this area, but it still worked so fine.
I just have one thing to say. I think he's right. I've never observed this, like that they don't mention India or Bharat or something in the thing. But I think it's just that I think they do just in the beginning monologue, the Amitabh Bachchan monologue. I think they do. But you are right. There is no like jingoism. There is no chest thumping, and I don't even think there is like chants like Bharat Mata Ki Jai or some nothing.
There was
Yeah,
nothing like that.
yeah, there's nothing, none of that is needed. And again, so on the patriotism thing, when you were asking him, right, something that you observed now when you watched, so when I was doing these song reviews and stuff, so I got to catch some of the portions of the film. One thing which I really love about the writing of the film is that as a kid, I didn't focus on that. Like Saurabh said, as a kid, the cricket match was a highlight. But they actually, intertwined these patriotism and social issue moments with other moments. So it's not like all of the patriotic stuff is in one chunk, and the all of the other fun elements, the songs, the village stuff, and then the cricket match. It's
So it
separate.
was
It's
all
not.
organic.
Yeah, it's all organic because you have this Ram Singh resigning during the game,
Match.
so that's like a patriotic thing. And then there are a couple of villagers who are not ready to join the team, but when they go to work in the cantonment, something happens over there, and that is also like I'm talking about the scene where I think the character name is Arjun, who goes to
Mhm.
mend the horseshoe and
Yeah.
stuff, and he's beaten, and that is also triggered by this event because he's angry at his sister and he takes it out here and all of that. So it is very intertwined. Even the caste stuff and everything is so intertwined and so organic, like you said. It's not like let's do this and let's do this. It's not a set piece. It's a very organic part of the entire thing.
Yes, I just want to add one more thing about it. Like again, Lagan is very unique in terms of its patriotic essence for me. That to this day there are quite a few scenes which would still give me goosebumps, like watching the, and none of those are the flary parts of the movie which happen in the last 1 hour during the cricket match. It all happens before that. Like some of those scenes, man, like the one he just Karthik mentioned that he hits thrashes him badly by saying khane ko roti nahi rahega, pehne ko kapda nahi rahega, which is also a good meme these days.
Yeah.
So like that one, and also uh, like even it there are so many minute elements in the movie that there is supposedly a king in the movie whose absolute first responsibility should be taking looking after his kingdom, right? But for that man, his false pride to not be eating meat goes way ahead of anything else that the kingdom might have to go through, right? Obviously Captain Russell was at wrong for asking him to eat meat, But again, if it was a true king, then like everything would have been later. But the well-being of his kingdom should have been first. So like the tiniest elements they incorporated in the movie, that's what made the story so plausible, so
And
believable.
that's where actually, like what he said about this organic event thing comes there. The world building is like very solid. So
Right,
you
right.
take one thing out, the whole thing kind of collapses.
Yeah. So like, and just one last point about that, the goosebump part that I was saying, man, like that entire song, it serves so many purposes. The first song, Kare Megha Pani To Barsao, it shows the helplessness of those farmers. At the same time, it is also introducing every
Character.
important character in the movie, their hopes which go high during the song, and they come thrashing down by the time the song ends. And again, if you want to make a correlation, there is ample evidence that this is still the story of millions of people in India. They are still dependent on like rain for their livelihood. So
Right. The
yeah.
farmers.
Yeah.
So okay, since you brought up the music part, we might as well like talk about it next. So one thing that has always fascinated me personally is how Gowariker picturizes Rahman songs, because I mean you see like the song, I mean they make, even no offense to Bansali, but they make Bansali videos look like sort of just music videos which are desperately put in the movie somewhere.
Which they are actually.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is, one of the great things about Lagaan is how songs are used to amp up a situation and give a sort of a new color to this. And my favorite is really this Radha ne aise jale, which is kind of the banter kind of song, but the way it sits in the screenplay and the way it kind of shows their relationship, it's fascinating. I mean, it even colors, if you see the lyrics and stuff, it even colors their relationship in that mode.
Right.
So you guys want to talk a bit about it?
Yes. Sorry, you want to go?
Yeah,
first?
I'll let you go first. This is your.
Okay.
Yeah, this is your forte. Come on.
No, but I was just hesitant because I already did like a video each. But I'll just go off on what Sai said. Is that yeah, you're right, because there is story and stuff happening in every song. Because I think only like with a slight exception of Baar, haan, but even there he puts a montage of them preparing for the game. So you can see the villagers stitching pads and clothes and everything. So even you can't like kind of skip that song. Mitwa is like you said, it's recruiting the village. Then Ghanan is of course for the establishing the characters and showing how much they are dependent on rain, and because that will set the stakes for the movie, right? Because when they say they go to the Raja and say that it hasn't rained in 3 years, so you have already seen them dancing desperate for rain. Now there's no rain, and now 3 times the tax. So that song also kind of pushes the stakes of the film very high. And then, of course, towards the end, you have Radha Kaise Na Jale. So when I revisited it, I absolutely loved it because I just realized, if you guys, I don't know if you guys seen the video, but each of the question answers, right? Whenever Aamir Khan is putting a question, the rhythm underneath is different. When she answers, he changes the rhythm. So every time he does this, and he has worked with so much, of like detail. Like a lot of the side percussion is taken from the story. Like of course the dandiya sticks and side percussion, whatever would be available in that village. Same goes for O Palan Hare. Even the situation. I mean, this song could come anywhere, right? Because they're already like doomed. It's not. They are not. Going in with some. Uh, like confidence or something, but they chose it to place, I think, after the second day's play, right?
Yeah.
And after the traitor is revealed, all that is done, but still they're struggling just by their ability. So that's when the song comes in, and even in that song you can see that the whole village is involved when they're all sitting together clapping and repeating. So it's like a bhajan, it's like a motivational exercise, and it's everybody's involved, and also even there the instrumentation he takes from the surrounding. So it starts with the bell of the temple when they hit
Yeah.
that, and that starts the song. So all that, I mean, like you said, it has been woven so intricately into the film that you can't really, skip the songs, or if you watch it in the theater, you can't go out for a smoke break or some blue break or something like that.
So actually, yeah, when Saurabh said the scenes give him goosebumps, honestly, I mean, as I mentioned to Rama even before the discussion, I'm not a big fan of this movie as such.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's why
So
he's doing this. Yeah.
I
that's
see.
but the songs give me goosebumps, man. I mean, something like Baar Haan is like, oh my god, it's like you want to go and play, kind of feel it. It puts you in that zone.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I'll talk of my observations about the songs. Like I am a big fan of two of the songs, and not in terms of their music. I think during our one of my discussions with Karthik, I said, I pointed out that I don't think Lagan might be, in terms of Rahman's work, even amongst his top 10 movie albums, not for me at least. But the songs and their picturization and their placement in the movie, uh, obviously Ghanan Ghanan, and the second one is O Palan Hare. O Palan Hare is like, because this is again something very unique about Indian movies, Bollywood movies per se, because we are in general a very religious society. So we have seen this in ample movies in our in Bollywood, that there is a moment when we are like surrendering towards the Almighty and expecting miracles out of from the Almighty, right? You would never see that happen in any of the Hollywood movies. But then that is a reflection of the society we are, right? Also, like I have a very strange like observation. I don't know if it fits at all or not. But like so the cricket match in Lagan was actually kind of like a test match. It happens for 3 days, single inning test match kind of thing. So so between every, like after every day's play, uh, I this is just my observation, I don't know how right I am, but it in a very strange way I look at it as like how like things would have been during the times of Mahabharata. Like there was this agreement that the war would end after sunsets, and then we will re-meet tomorrow for next day whenever sun rises, right? And we have read those in like mythological stories that they would be regrouping, meeting each other, strategizing while the war is off, even
And
the
Kurukshetra is also that
yes,
deserted kind of.
yes,
So yeah, maybe
even
that
the
was
war
like
actions.
kind
And
of.
like this song comes at a point when it's time to regroup, it's time to re-strategize. There have been like far too big revelations during the day, and at the same time they have lost all hope. So I think that song comes at a very important juncture in the movie. uh, that was my like limited observation
Uh,
about the song.
when you said Mahabharat, right, I just realized you're right, because even I don't know if they intended this, but taking that logic one step forward, in the song, the idol is also Krishna. So I think
Yeah.
somewhere,
Yeah, in both the songs, the idol is Krishna. Again, like
yeah,
important to note that beautifully written by Javed Akhtar, particularly Opal and Hari.
yeah,
By like
that's
you
some
again,
other level. Yeah.
yeah, too nice, yeah.
And
Uh,
one could also probably make a case that Aamir Khan's character is actually like Krishna, right?
yeah.
That's what they showed in the entire song actually. When
In Radha Kaise.
Radha
He's
and
the
Amir,
savior, yeah. So this is again something that came up earlier, where Saurabh, I think you mentioned that this appeal to even people who are not not just a pan-Indian appeal, but like a global appeal. So the Oscar nomination was not probably like all that surprising, right?
yeah.
So, what is your take on that? In the sense that, were you guys like happy when the movie got nominated? Were you sad when it didn't actually win the award? Uh,
I think so. There is obviously a bias here because we are Indian, but actually, I do believe that Lagan deserved an Oscar. I really think, and we have seen too many. Like, just take the example of Rahman winning it for Slumdog versus Lagan. Like, anyone like Rama could be able to explain more on this, but I don't think Slumdog's music was in any
But
which way.
dude, Lagan didn't have Mosam and Escape.
What?
There's a he's talking
In
about a piece called Mosam and Escape.
an
He's
Escape.
saying that
I have
Lagan.
seen Slumdog, and when I heard the song Ring Ring Ringa, I thought, oh man, like
No, I don't think Slumdog. The songs were. I'm
yeah,
not.
yeah. But
I'm
I,
not
I actually digressed a little. But coming back to my point, I think Lagan deserved. Like I won't be able to pinpoint that this was the thing that could have made it to win, or this was whatever. But I think over the years we have seen that like with every single award, be it Academy Awards, Oscars, or even Nobel Prize or whatever, the current situation, the current geopolitics plays a far more important role than the merits of the movie or the merits of the scientists, artists, whatever, right? And I think that's where perhaps Lagan, but yeah, like if it would have won an Oscar, it would have been another bigger achievement. But still, I think, yeah, I don't know what to say beyond that. Like, yeah.
But just because he said that, right? Just because he brought in Slumdog, I have an interesting question now in my mind. Is just that, yeah, like he said, I wasn't really aware about the Oscars when the film went for the Oscars. So yeah, it doesn't really matter if it
Oh, it
won.
was a big craze actually when the
Yeah,
movie went to
yeah,
Oscars.
yeah.
It was.
So what I'm saying is that is the first time I came to know. Okay, so this is a kind of a thing, right? This is a big thing. So yeah, but the thing is, like he said, comparing Slumdog to Lagan, what I feel now is that okay, they nominated Lagan as best foreign film, but then what I realize is that they did not look at other facets of the film, right, and think of nominating it somewhere else, because now they do that, right? If I remember, Parasite had other nominations.
Parasite won like I
Right,
mean it's almost like
right.
they had to give
So
the Oscar to
Yeah,
Parasite.
yeah. So it's like you are looking at other facets of the film as well. So in that sense, that question is now in my head also. Like, why are they not nominate? Why didn't they nominate Rahman, say, for Lagan or for some other technician like the editor or the director? Because then you're not looking at it at a whole, as a film as a whole, right? You're like he said, you're basically looking at there's this film from India. So what's our relationship with India right now? Do people, will they feel this is something exotic? Will that work? Because even if you see the trailers of Lagan in the US, it's not the same trailer that we saw. It's
Oh,
one,
is
yeah, it's one. It went straight to DVD, I think, in the US.
Oh,
So the trailer is, it's one of those things like in the old days, right? So in a land far, far away, and it's like
I see.
watch.
so it's like that origin
Yeah,
story
yeah, yeah.
kind of.
It's like watch in the deserts of India as the farmers take over. Like it's one of those things. So
I
that's how
see.
they presented it. So yeah, I mean, all said and done, it's like I remember Kamal Hassan said somewhere, like in some interview, where he was saying, why do we have this fascination with the Oscars? Because like if we take products in the kitchen, we want the ISI mark, right? We don't want the FDA approval. So it's an Indian film. So let's be happy with the Indian stamp. So yeah, but
True,
now,
but again,
yeah,
an international recognition. So I mean, in the sense that I do agree that we don't have to like sort of earn for an
right,
Oscar,
right,
but when you have a film like this, which is very, I mean, in the sense that you don't get films like this, right, which speak this very global. It has a
language,
global theme. It has a
Yes, yes,
global
yes, yes.
cinematic language.
right, right.
So you might as well try your shot, right? I mean,
Yeah, like Saurabh said, it would have accelerated India's journey, like being
I
known
agree with
in
that.
that pop
In
culture
the global
space.
map, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I I just have 2 points to make, like just building on what Karthik said, that like from now on, even though there have been good Korean movies in the past, right? But from now on, every year there would be a special consideration towards what good Korean movies are coming out ever since
They look
Parasite,
out for it in some sense.
right? And once that starts happening, bigger money would come into the picture, and the movie experience in itself will keep evolving from there, right?
Right,
We are still seeing very very colloquial and very like run of the mill kind of movies in Bollywood because we haven't expanded to any newer markets. Forget about outside India, even inside India, the Hindi film industry per se has been saturated to that same old place where they were like, let's say 15 years back. Once in a while, if a really good movie comes out, then it might do good in, like, let's say, parts of South India, or otherwise, like, it has been right there
Right.
where they were, right? So in those terms, winning an Oscar could have been like a really good, for example, the kind of technicians, the kind of CGI is being used, all that sort of things would have expanded. But I guess, yeah, like, maybe it wasn't meant for us.
At that.
That's why, apart from one more thing that Rama touched upon, which was the global appeal of Lagan, right? It had the most basic ingredient which you absolutely require in a motivational, inspirational kind of story, which is an underdog and like basically a David versus Goliath kind of fight. And this was like, in every sense of the word, exact same thing, right? Because forget about the socio-economic status of these peasants versus the mighty British Empire, whose sun never used to set in
Set.
back those times. On top of that, they are going to play a game in a month or 3 months, whatever is the time, which they don't even know what is it, like, right? And like, so the journey is immense. Their hard work, they had done good justice to it, by the way in which they picturized it. But it had every single, like, key ingredient you need in this kind of a fight kind of a movie, and that's why it works so nicely. And so it always had those key factors which you require for it to go into a, like, a global scenario. And
Yeah, because the expectedly the appeal was much more general, right? And the themes of freedom, and so one could even make a case that even the slavery here is
yes,
also, like, in some sense, a fight for freedom, right?
yes, and we do see that happening in real life as well, right? So it is a known fact that MLK was a known follower of Gandhi. Now Gandhi was fighting a entirely different fight in a totally other side of the world, but just his principles and his, like, teachings could be applicable in a civil rights movement in United States. At the same time, a Mandela would find it applicable in South Africa. So ideas do travel globally, and in those terms, like, Lagan was that idea which could have found, like, applicability in any part of the world or in any culture or any society. Yeah. So actually, right, few minutes back we touched upon the part. In fact, I said that Bollywood has been constricted to a certain geographical area, and they are not making any inroads elsewhere. I want to know, Sai, like, since Rama grew up and lived all his life in Mumbai, I want to know from you, what was the, like, how was Lagan received back in South India, in Madurai, in Chennai? And did you see that, like, was it like a buzz that, oh, something great has come up, or it was just like another Bollywood
Oh,
movie?
it was a big hit in Chennai, actually,
I see.
and I think I watched the movie in a theater, and it was packed,
Hmm.
and even it had a good run. I remember, I think it probably had like 100-day run or something in a few theaters though.
Nice.
Yeah.
And there was the bus around, and especially the songs, man. I mean, Rahman was like a rock star that time. So
Right.
any album that he was coming up with, the language doesn't even matter. I mean, people used to just go. So that was like one aspect. And Aamir Khan was known because Kayamat Se Kayamat Tak and some of his these
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
80s
Yeah.
romance movies were like huge hits in Chennai. I mean, like,
I agree.
I think Kayamat Se Kayamat Tak almost ran for a year or something.
Oh,
In
really?
Yeah, it was a blockbuster, and after that, actually, this when the Oscar thing happened, that was huge. In fact, like, I remember seeing that coverage and all that
Mhm.
ceremony.
Ah,
We wanted this to win, and a Bosnian
maybe.
team eventually won.
I
Yeah.
remember the name. It's called No Man's Land.
Yeah, and
The
I
film that
heard
one.
it's actually like a
I've
really
seen
good
that movie.
scene.
I have not seen it. I've not seen
Oh, no, no, sorry. I confused it for No Country for Old.
it. That's a
Old
great
Men.
No,
film. That's a
it's a
different film.
Cohen God.
Yeah.
That's a
That
different
was
thing.
a fantastic film.
Yeah, this was called No Man's Land and it won.
I wanted to address the elephant in the room.
Good.
This film, which is Aamir Khan, and the movie also manages like a big casting coup in this
Mhm.
And yeah, let's start with, what do you think made Amir Khan choose this movie, in the sense that, because his career wasn't exactly going anywhere when this movie happened, and this caused like this huge resurgence and made Amir Khan into what he is now. So
Yeah, I think, man, like it's like, I don't know, if I can pinpoint on that. I've said this in the past that the understanding that Amir Khan has to select and choose a good script, I don't think anyone else has in Bollywood, at least today's Bollywood, right? So Lagan was in fact an immense gamble at the time when it was made. I don't think it was, it the first movie of Gowariker. I think it
No,
no,
was.
I think Hasil or
no.
No, no.
yeah,
Yeah.
Bazi, I think Bazi or something.
Oh,
Bazi,
yeah.
yeah,
One or
So
two
I
films he
think
had made.
very
One or two.
forgettable films, I
so he
guess.
had worked with Amir in the past, but again, like this was a proper magnum opus. Like it would require immense funding. On a Was going to be made on a very big scale. So first of all, an actor like Amir Khan, like thinking that okay, Gavarikar might be able to pull off something like that. That itself was a huge, might have been a huge decision for the times. So I don't know, like. I don't know how does Amir Khan know that okay, this is a script that's going to work. But yeah, also like I just, a supplementary question. Uh, Before Lagan, which were the at least the movies that we might consider monumental in Amir Khan's career? I would say Rangila. I wouldn't consider Raja Hindustani in that.
All were romantic movies, right? I think this
Right,
was
right.
probably the first yeah,
Maybe
I think
Sarfarosh. Maybe
Sarfarosh.
Sarfarosh.
Yeah, Sarfarosh.
Sarfarosh, yeah, but Sarfarosh was not a like a bumper hit like
Yeah,
perhaps a Hindustani or even a Rangila could
yeah,
have been. Yeah,
yeah.
He was seen as a romantic hero, but this one I
yeah,
think
yeah.
transformed this image to like a
Yeah. Just because
So
he.
much so that
Sorry,
okay,
good.
okay, so much so that he himself got caught in that image for the next some years.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I don't think he has
just
gone
doing
back to that.
similar kind of movies. Mangal
He
Pandey
did
was a good
Fana,
disaster in that.
which was, one could say, but it also had an element of patriotism of sorts.
Which one?
Fana,
Fana was there, Rang De Basanti was there, Mangal Pandey was there. These were the, I think, 3 or 4 movies he did after Lagan, and all of them were in the same league. Dil Chahta Hai released couple of months after Lagan, but it was shot way before, or like it was not around the same time as Lagan. So, but all his movies were in the same space of.
yeah, they all fit into that.
Just
Yeah,
because you brought up the why he chose Lagan, so there have been these million stories about like everybody told him not to do this film, and as far as I'm aware, the original producer, Jamu Sugand, I think was the name, who started the film. I think he either passed away between the shooting or after shooting and before release. So that is why you see Amir Khan Productions for the first time.
No, no, no. Like, I remember that while the movie was being made, it was under Amir Khan Productions only.
I think he started because I think
Yeah,
they in the beginning they credit him also.
yeah,
Yeah,
because like, have you guys seen that documentary Madness in Desert,
yeah.
which
There
is
is
about
a
the movie?
yeah there is a documentary. Yeah, I've
Yeah, it
seen
is.
some parts.
Oh, it's a very good watch. I have seen that. It's on Netflix as well. So I remember there was this point during while the making of the movie that the shoot has gone like way beyond what they planned it to, and Amir's then wife, Reena was her name.
Reena, I think. Yeah,
Reena, she was pressurizing that the movie is going way off budget, so you either finish it in this much time or I'm pulling thing off. So Amir Khan was the, and yeah, that I would highly recommend watching that documentary. It shows some very minute details about the movie.
so what do you guys think of the general casting? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
good, good.
I think overall it's very. You'll be hard pressed to find like a bad performance in the film. But though I'm not like I'll just admit I'm not a huge fan of Gracie Singh. Uh, but
yeah,
but she like pulled a decent performance I think here, and mainly because we hadn't seen her before. So whatever opinion I formed of her was later. was after Lagaan. And there are a couple of actors that I really kind of like. So Raghuveer Yadav, and then you
Yeah.
have some of other Gowariker's regulars. I'm forgetting the guy's name. The guy who plays Kuran. He's seen in Swadesh and other Gowarikar
Yeah,
films.
yeah.
Yeah, so all those actors were really good. Yeah, I don't see like again people will have a problem with the white people in the film. So I did not really. So at that time I didn't really know. So
Actually, yeah, these were like, if you compare this to Sue in Rang De Basanti, for instance,
yeah, maybe, but I
they
still
were
I
very
still
charismatic.
bought. Yeah, I still bought it. I still kind of bought it, especially the uh, these guys, the Captain Russell and the other. I think her name is Rachel Shelley or someone. So
Yeah, yeah.
the person who plays, yeah. So those guys I found okay. Even the commissioner kind of people who come in later, they were also decent. Yeah. So overall, casting wise, I didn't nothing really pulled me out of the film. I think everyone did a decent performance.
So I have been smiling for past 30 seconds because I have a very embarrassing confession to make. That I went to watch this movie with an immense crush on Gracie Singh.
Uh,
Now, why would that happen is because during the late 90s, there happened to be a TV serial on Z TV.
okay.
Again, not my choice. My mom used to watch it, so I would watch it as well. It was called Amanat.
Oh,
It
I
was a
remember. Yeah.
it was a big hit in those times, and Gracie Singh played the character of Dinky in it.
Okay.
Okay, and like it was one of those characters which becomes immensely popular that you know that okay, this person is going to be in the movies in coming few years, which happened with Shah Rukh Khan, which happened with Sushant and some others as well, right? So it was quite like she was that popular with that TV serial Amanat that she was going to be in the movies in coming few years, and that's where we saw her in the movie. And for me, Gracie Singh was absolutely convincing enough.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say that oh she shined through, but then again, like you can expect little when there is someone like an Aamir Khan in the frame, right? It is very hard for you to steal the light when an actor like Aamir Khan is there. So for me, Gracie Singh was convincing enough. I completely agree with other things that Rama said about the casting. There was one sore thumb for me: the character of Isar Chacha, who was Gauri's father in the movie. So either you don't cast an old guy like that, and if you do, then don't include him in the like in the cricket team at least. Like
Well,
they were like 6.5 feet, bulkily built, like straight out of a magazine models or something. And then you have Isar Chacha who's pretending like this, like, come on, dude, like, give me something realistic to think about. So
Right.
I think he was the only one who wasn't who like, and I think the next one would be Raghuveer Yadav. Again, like he didn't even did he bowl? I don't think he bowled either, right?
I think he did, but his bit was catching the chickens and fielding.
Oh,
That
so he
was
that's when they identify him, I guess.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Also, like I wanted to bring this point that actually, like I think you might already know this, but for our audience who don't know, the character of Kachra was inspired from a real life incident.
Oh.
So this is a very famous story that Ram Guha narrates. That and it is also like he gives credit for this to Gandhi. That I think in Pune or Vadodara, somewhere in Western India, there was this cricket team which was going to play against the local British team or something like that, and there were some complications regarding including a member who came from the Dalit community, and again he also had some complications with his hand, and he used to spin the ball that way. So actually, the character of Kachra is influenced from some
A real
real life.
Oh,
Yeah,
actually, even this B.S. Chandrasekhar was like the spinner who used to have that disability, right? But I don't know if he was a Dalit.
yeah, yeah. No, but this one I've heard around
Uh,
about this at some point of time. So again, like an interesting no kind of a thing.
So I have a question like for both of you guys. Since we are already on the cricket, so I just want to like whenever after the first time, whenever I watched the film, so I always felt like the cricket match. Obviously, it had to be written right, and there have
Mhm.
been like millions of articles and videos pointing out mistakes in the scores and this and that. But come on, like you're watching a movie, you're enjoying, so all that is fine. But one thing I can't get past is that it's if you see the film, that is why I think it also went to the Oscars, because it was almost like a tutorial, right? If you have
Hmm.
never seen cricket, that match
Yeah.
actually they show every possible way of getting out, right?
Yeah.
But in like a real cricket match, that would never happen. So right
Yeah.
from monkeying to everything, all of that. So what do you guys like think
Are you
about it?
marketing in the movie?
Yeah. There's a monkeying scene as
Yeah,
well.
they showed, yeah.
Oh,
When
okay.
when Tipu gets out.
Dude, you have like 4 hours
Yes,
of
yes,
running
yes.
time.
It gets
So
delayed.
you can as well show like.
Yeah. So they show
Dude,
pretty
even
much.
like he got his own movies later. You know that?
Who?
He got, like that was the like importance of Lagan. That kid Tipu, right, who becomes the runner.
Yeah.
He came into some B-grade movies or something, but he was the hero of the movie, dude.
Oh yeah. I mean, fair game. Like
Yeah.
if you have Lagan on your resume.
Yeah.
What was your question, Ram?
No, I'm just saying that. What do you think about like stuffing every cricket knowledge bit into one game? Did that work? Because every time after the first time I've seen, I'm like, okay, now they're showing this. Now they have a problem with the no ball. They're showing white. They're showing, Guran stands like this, and all
Yeah.
that thing. And then they're saying now we'll write this rule in the book, but after the game. When
Oh.
they play it like gilli danda, they hit it twice, saying
Uh-huh.
we'll put it later. So all of that they put in. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, they could have reduced that a bit. Is what
Absolutely. Like, for example, if now I am going to watch Lagan, I would just watch it before the game starts and I'll stop after that. Because the rest of it is just like, yeah.
Anyway, they are going to win.
Yeah, I know properly the ending, by the way.
No,
And on top of that, yeah, it was little over the top. But then again, like you are making a movie, so unless it's a photo finish, you don't include a sports kind of a feature in the movie. So yeah.
right. And I
so
think
this
it.
is
Yeah,
actually
sorry.
like. Oh yeah, go on, sir.
No. I just wanted to say that it almost like when the game begins, it almost goes into that, like kind of slightly fairy tale-ish kind of a structure, because then it's not really about the emotion and winning the game. It's more about this guy. See, these guys are so good, and this guy is like bashing everyone because he, comes as an opener and stays till the very end. So it's like you have to kind of what is the term? Disbanding logic. What is the
Yeah,
suspending
disbelief.
suspension of disbelief? So you
Yeah.
you want that? Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, my point was So one of the reasons I don't like the movie I feel it doesn't hold up today that much is that I mean it's too predictable, man. In the sense that I mean, if they are going to say this, and this I had a problem even with Dangal actually, which was again in a very similar mold. It'll be like things that are bound to happen will kind of happen instantly. So
Yeah, so that is something which is there in every single sports related or this kind of underdog related movie ever made, right? You know what
no,
is
not
going to
really.
the ultimate ending. You know that okay, the underdog is going to win over, right?
So you
Any
see
movie.
Rocky, for instance, right? He
Hmm.
doesn't win in the first movie.
Oh, I haven't seen Rocky, admittedly. But what I was trying to point at is that you know that what the ending is going to be, but how down they take you and from there how the recovery is. This is one thing that me and Rama talked over for
Yeah.
some time back, right? Like you must feel down with the character when the character is itself down, so much so that you start rooting for the protagonist or whoever that is. And I think that part Lagan does beautifully, because at the end of the day, here again, it was not just a game they were like trying to win. There was much more at stake than just a game, and that part I think Lagan did quite nicely. Uh, but yeah, like again, after that, there's no point watching the game over and over again because it is going to feel very mediocre.
So I
So
agree with the rooting part, but my point is that there is this movie in there was Sala Kaddus, right, in Hindi, which was like a major hit in Tamil, and there is also a movie called Maikaminna in Tamil. These are also like very underdog stories, but they are embellished with this kind of there is a certain quirk and certain sharpness in embellishing these stories with some detail. and that I feel is Lagan falls flat for me. Like
Right.
it's like okay, everything is like
But I think that is because who is making the film in the first place, and because it's for such a big audience, I think you can't take those liberties. I think,
yeah.
you
And
know.
Gowariker, I don't think is like that kind of director who sort of like I mean, for instance, I don't expect him to be directing like Rakesh Mehra, for instance.
Yeah, but also the thing is that the subject matter itself is like India versus England, basically. So
Mm.
you're not gonna surprise the Indian audience and amuse them by saying the British win. You know,
Right.
Then you would be
you are you're not gonna do that. So I mean that is
That
a
would
good thing.
be why you made this movie then, dude.
that would have been Anurag Kashyap making the movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Kashyap
yeah,
can pull off something like this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, that is
So
why.
my question was going to be yes, Ashutosh Gowariker, he started with a bang. Lagan was like a huge hit. And Swades was not that big a hit, but still
It
was
was a
very well
flop.
received.
Actually, it was a flop, yeah.
Jodha Akbar was again like very well received. But somehow after that, if you see some of his the rest of his filmography, one can't even say that this man who made Lagan made Panipat or
Dude, that he casted Arjun Kapoor in his last movies. That is like end of your career. Please take a break.
Okay.
so. Why did this happen? I mean, you guys have any thoughts on this?
I have a thought that I think it is kind of like something similar which happened with RGV. Gopal Verma. You work on an idea, that idea works, and then you just keep chasing that over and over and over again, like not doing anything new. So, like, I don't know what happened during What's Your Rashi, but rest of all his movies can be put under one single bucket, and they were all extensions of each other. And he could not like get rid of that old formula that worked for him, and then he just kept doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, which doesn't happen. We all are coders, so we who better to explain that
I
than us.
actually like that Abhishek Bachchan movie. I would say in the rest of his filmography, the
Yeah,
Kelenge Hum Ji Jaan Se.
yeah, there was some controversy with that movie as well with like I don't
Yeah.
know if should we be discussing it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that one, and I'm not seeing what's her Rashi either.
No.
Yeah, so the thing is, what happened, I think, was that, like he said, that's exactly right, because he tried to chase the same thing again and again. And one of the big things in that is he never updated himself with respect to the runtime of the film, right? So Lagan is what, almost 4 hours, and
Yeah, yeah,
Even
okay,
Swades is long.
Swades is long, but imagine doing a 3 hour 45 50 minute film in 2001, then maybe a 10-minute lesser film in 2004, but then you can't do like a 3 hour film in 2015 or 16, right?
so
After Jodha Akbar, I think people also lost patience with him, and if you see throughout these films, his collaborators kept changing. So it's
yeah.
not just the audience; it's like his own technicians and crew and all these people also didn't stick around. I think.
I think the problem with him was so much so that he, in fact, got stubborn about it. That no, I will make a movie which is absolutely going to be beyond 3 hours every single time. And like even to this day, so I had a specific observation about Lagan. So in Lagan, dude, like please hire an editor. Even if I would consider Lagan to be a masterpiece, but in terms of editing, it was like last time when I was trying to watch it. So I'll give you an example. So Elizabeth has met Bhuvan and all these books for the first time, and there is this Ram Singh who's doing the translation. So even the translation goes as it is. She'll say one thing in English, then he'll translate it into Hindi. Then they'll say something in Hindi and he'll translate it into English. So that same set of dialogues are being repeated twice for entire 10 minutes. Like that's even like someone as ordinary as me could see a potential for editing right there. It somehow never occurred to Gawariker. So even Lagan, no matter it's a great movie, but still it could have been easily 30-40 minutes shorter. And it has been a problem with quite a few movies. I pointed that about Super Deluxe as well to Rama. That like You
Oh,
shouldn't.
Chupati legs could have definitely been shorter. I mean,
Right, right, yeah,
needed like someone coming with scissors or something to cut the.
exactly. That's what I felt as well. So it goes the same for Lagan as well, and same thing for many of his other movies as well, where like the movies could have been easily shorter by 40-50 minutes. In fact, yeah.
Actually, some trivia I want to mention. So that component of this Aamir Khan's relationship with this white woman, right?
Mhm.
That too was actually made into a movie in Tamil. It's called Madrasapatinam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just explored just this arc of this.
And I just want to say one thing. I've not seen that film, but they straight away ripped off Aamir Khan's costume.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And there are songs. I can give you the link to the song. You go see the song. He'll be wearing that exact.
I'll put
Who was
the.
the
Arya, one actor, and this was done by Amy Jackson.
Oh, okay, okay.
The
So
songs are amazing. I mean, like
I'll
the
put
songs in the
I'll put the link to one of the songs in the description. Yeah, check that out.
Got it.
Okay. So yeah, what are our closing thoughts on the movie? We have already discussed things that could have been better. For instance, like this show and tell kind of thing, and also the length, which is like a major speed break. So, what else? Like, you guys want to say something about the movie in general?
Yeah. So like my closing thought would be Lagan is indeed a very unique movie. The same thing that I said in the very beginning, that it is a very unique movie in terms of the era in which is set, the narrative of the movie, and the connect, which still feels very relevant. I think it is one thing that I look for in a movie, which makes it a very like good movie for me, would be like if the movie can stand the test of time over the years. That is something we talked about Jab We Met as well. So again, like Lagan still finds that connect and might continue for coming years because it's an underdog story, and those stories don't go stale that easily. So in terms of the story and the performance were phenomenal, just minute casting decisions here and there and the editing of the movie. But apart from that, still Lagan truly a masterpiece. Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much similar for me. One thing, a couple of things I would like to say. One thing that we didn't really touch upon, but that really works for me is the background score. So this kind of really cemented that technique where Rahman takes themes from songs and makes background score out of that. So except for the songs, there's one song I actually didn't really like that much is the Ore Chhori song, because that is the only typical Bollywood song with dream sequences and stuff. But even there, if you see the Elizabeth portion is a theme called Waltz for Romance. And then the Lagan main theme itself comes in various times. So again, like Saurabh said, right, it lives, till now. You can see many places where they use that Lagan background score. So it just brings back all the memories, especially all the Ke Bhaiya, Chote Lagan and all that. So it comes in with the theme, so that still works. Yeah, apart from the editing and some minor casting things, it is still a very perfect film. Yeah, like I told you, I had those couple of issues with the cricket match, like trying to stuff everything. Maybe if it was made today, someone would have been more sensible about it and decided like we don't need to show everything in the cricket rule book here. But what I think works is definitely the underground. What works is definitely the underdog story, and like he said, it's never gonna get stale. But over and above that, like I think in a long time we haven't had like this national integration kind of a film without jingoism, without chest thumping, but also making it very organic and at the same time being clear about it. Like we are saying this, but we are not pushing it on you. So I think that is one more reason that Lagan works, and maybe it should be watched more in these times when people are so divided. Maybe a film can kind of bring you on the same page.
True.
Yeah, my closing thoughts would be like, though, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the movie as such, but I do credit it hugely for making Aamir Khan what he is now, and also ushering in this new trend of these mainstream movies where you had these very interesting ideas and you were still making movies for the big screen and making them work at a large scale.
I just want to make one last point, which is like just when Rama said it, it occurred to me that looking Lagan in terms of contemporary India, I think this will be one of the very few patriotic movies made in India, which both the liberals as well as conservatives would like.
Yeah.
It might not happen with
Whoever
all.
loves India would actually like the.
Yeah. And just
their interpretation might be different, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think the reason for what he just said, and that is very beautiful, is because the imagery is very Indian. Because
Yes.
nowadays, I don't want to like ruffle any feathers or hurt anybody, but nowadays being liberal or being modern or something is typically associated with the West, and we don't look like whether we have those qualities here and it is localized or not. But
Right.
in Lagan, every like the imagery or whatever metaphors and everything is very Indian. But
So rooted.
it is very rooted, but still the values are a bit progressive. They're a bit modern.
Yes.
So
And it goes on to show that you can make a patriotic movie without going jingoistic about it.
yeah, so that's pretty much cool. Thanks, guys. And for you guys watching, so yeah, you know the drill. Like, share, subscribe, comment, whatever. But please, if you guys haven't checked out the song-related videos, please go and check those out. And let us know like what kind of films you would want us to talk about later. It could be anything. We'll try and do that for you guys. So that's it for this video. See you all in the next one.